So, hi, ma'am. Yeah, so we do have a couple of questions.
Please do.
So, the first question is from Viraj Tiveri.
Yeah.
So, the question is, please recommend some exercises for mental strength.
Yeah. The mind, unfortunately, is not like the gym. The only way in which you can get mind strong is by meditation. Meditation is the only way to explore your mind and get mind strong. But at the same time, you can do journaling. Journaling meaning to say you can keep writing those thoughts that up you and those thoughts that down you. There's also an exercise called I am, I have, and I can. So it's called resource finding. You need to sit and find out what are your traits that build you and what are the traits that take away from who you are, and find out how to eliminate those traits that destruct you and encourage those traits that build you, right? So without a book and without you writing it down, it's very difficult for you to actually go somewhere and say that now I'm going to make my mind strong. All right. You can never learn swimming by watching videos, even if an Olympic swimmer teaches you. But if I once push you into dirty water and you drink that horrible water and you choke and you gag and you go, then you will learn your swimming, right? The same way, unless you go through challenges, unless you go through your obstacles, unless you get rid of negative people, you cannot become mind strong. You have to always work in multiple ways to ensure that you have a thought management system. When you have a thought management system, you can definitely work yourself to better strength. I hope I'm able to add some value. Yes. The next question, there is.
Next question is, ma'am, you spoke about meditation. Is
Mhm.
there any specific one you can recommend?
No, I will not recommend anything. I have my own methods by means of which I do help people to meditate. Yes. But at the end of the day, I would just say that those who come and meditate in any way, there are 100,000 ways of going to heaven. You find your own way. Going to hell, there are 10,000 ways of going to hell and 50, 100,000 ways of going to hell. Nobody needs to teach you. Everyone's going there already. So you can choose anybody that you trust. You can choose any technique. I would recommend non-religious techniques, and you should just indulge in a practice and stick to it and don't become a serial meditator. Please don't go around everywhere learning 100 techniques. It's not going to work. So that's really what I'm sharing with you, that probably there are 100 different ways of going there. Choose what you're comfortable with. We teach a different way. If you really want to learn, you're most welcome. But I will not recommend anything because everybody is respectful. Everybody's intentions are good. It's up to you to choose wisely. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next question is from Chetan Kanmani.
Yeah.
His question, what he says is, nice session, Ushi. Once you die, mind does not consist to exist. On what basis did you say this?
I said once you die, the mind is always there. I never said it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
In fact, when you die and the body is lying there, or dead and in your coffin or under the grave, for more than 48 to 72 hours, you still have electrical signals in your brain because your brain is actually waiting for the body to come back. And the hard disk never gives way. It's always waiting for you to come back. And the moment you're brain dead, that's when you actually die because your memory is alive, your entire functioning is alive, your entire system, which is holding your identity as you, will pass on. And I believe that that is a whole different story. Maybe Chandra will give me another opportunity to talk about life after death, but I still believe that you're nothing but a small source of energy, and that energy will continue whether you're there in this body or whether you're there anywhere else. So energy cannot be created, energy cannot be destroyed, energy can only transform from one place to another. So you can translocate energy. So I said that the mind will continue to exist.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah.
The next question is from Anand HV. How do you deal with a mediocre boss?
Kick him where it hurts. And if it's a her, kick her a little gently. You don't need to deal with them. Communication is a tool. You need to learn the art of negotiating. You also need to learn the art of influence. If your mind is strong, what you say will rule over your boss as well. If you're a great communicator and you have good energy, you may not be in hierarchy as high as your boss, but you can definitely influence the mind of your boss. If you feel your boss is mediocre, you're passing a judgment. And strong minds do not pass judgments. Who are you to say your boss is mediocre? Maybe your boss feels you're useless. And that's one of the reasons why you cannot pass judgments. You need to say that we are not on the same page. Sometimes you don't agree, so you beg to disagree. You need to dialogue. You need to negotiate. And if things are not working, you need to understand that there is disparity. You need to bring on a third person. It's called buffering. Okay? And everything can be buffered. You can always be friends in spite of not being the same. And if you call somebody mediocre, they will act mediocre. It's very important that you don't bring people through words to a level that you believe will affect them and through them you. You're in your mind always operating on bias. You need to get rid of the bias, have a broader slate, accept people for who they are, learn their weaknesses, also learn that everyone is not complete. Nobody thinks like you. You cannot change anybody. You can only change yourself. Probably that's a lesson that you need to keep in mind. Try and see in what ways you can change so that your boss learns to deal with you and you can deal with your boss, who's not mediocre at all. We're all the same. Yes.
So we have the next question is from Bhaumik Bhagat.
Yeah.
Hello, Ushi ma'am. Sometimes you may get an inspiration in night to do a particular thing, but the next day you tend to roll in everyday task and you miss and you forget it. How do you stay inspired and keep working on it?
Everything is self-motivation. And I say that if you really don't want, and if you really are losing it, then you don't have a steady mind. If you want to be a Diwali rocket and go just up to here and go, that is your choice. If you want to become a rocket that goes to Mars, then the preparation is good. The construction has to be great. The fuel is actually very different. And it goes only once in 10 or 100 years. It can't keep going every day. So it's all dependent on the fuel on which you're running. And that fuel is what is the chemical on which the brain runs. You need to generate good chemicals. You need to have a great diet. You need to have a good body and a great mind and a good set of chemicals, because humans are run on chemicals. Your hormones, your water, and your fat is what's responsible for the brain function. You need to really start working on it and start working on certain exercises, which you'll have to repeatedly do so that it becomes a habit. You need to become a highly disciplined mind, and it's not easy. Most of us are masters of 50,000 kicks practiced once. I'm a master of one kick practiced 50,000 times. So it's just left to you. You're losing motivation because you're not deep. You're losing motivation because your thought is very superficial. Learn to build depth to your thoughts. And when you build depth to your thoughts, the roots become very strong. And it's doable. If I can work in 14 jobs, why can't you work in 5 more jobs? Why can't you have 5 more sources of income? You're all very young. You can do a fab job. So it's all about undying motivation, but not foolishly going into areas and saying that everything is possible and I'm going to stand in front of this orange tree and wish that this becomes an apple. You need to be very realistic, right? Yeah.
The next question is, we would have built ourselves, however, a series of defeats put us down. How do we revive ourselves after a series of setbacks and defeats and rejections?
Like I said, you're stronger than you seem. You're smarter than you think. And very important, you're braver than you believe. So all of us are preordained. We do have a specific path which is set for us. The story of I'm going to go there and create my destiny, I think you should try it. But I will still say that what is meant to be shall be, and what is not meant to be shall not be. So sometimes gracefully accept a defeat and move on. Sometimes when the path is too concrete and stone-like, don't break your head trying to break it. You need to move and choose a different path. So all of us have different paths. All of us have different habits. All of us have different intentions. You have multiple ways of achieving what you want. A creative and an innovative brain will choose those multiple ways, and you need to work on those ways. If you don't expand your mind, and the device is not 5G enabled, you cannot catch 5G. So the first job of yours is to enable your device 5G, and then you will be able to transfer and utilize 5G. You cannot have a device which has 3G and then say that I'm not able to receive 5G. So there's a lot of work which goes into making your brain expanded. There's a lot of work which goes into getting your mind out of the habit that it's used to and create new habits that will enable it fertilize your thoughts better. Yeah. Yeah.
So another question. What is the difference between a negative person and a doubting Thomas? It is important to doubt too. So what do you think, how do you not turn that into a problem?
Well, I would say a doubting Thomas is all of us. It's a very natural human trait not to trust people. It's a very natural human trait for us to doubt something because obviously we also think from a center which is ourselves. And all human beings, they are basically the kinds that doubt. That's why we run on fear. Fear and doubt are actually very protective to the human being. High risk takers can be dangerous. But if you're going to go and take a flight and you don't have a parachute on you and you're taking a free fall, then I think that's being foolish. So, doubt is absolutely not negative. But if you keep doubting 24 hours, then yes, it becomes an obsession. Anything which is a habit is all right, but anything which is an obsession is not very healthy and you need to take care of it. So, doubting is perfectly okay. I doubt people. I'm extremely mentally strong. I doubt people. And you need to doubt people. It's a protective mechanism. You can't blindly trust everybody. But at the same time, if you're negative, it just means that you've given up on everything. I'm full of drama and trauma. I find fault with everything. And whatever you do good, also, I find fault with. And if you're about to do something, I will get in your way as well. It's like those huge speed breakers that the PWD department makes, where it doesn't break only the speed, it breaks your car as well. So I guess like anything in excess is no good. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the last question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, would you like to say some strategies for women, especially in our society, which limits women's growth in multiple manners?
No, I do not. I'm gender agnostic. So for me, I can have a great woman and I can have a great man. I found horrible women and I found horrible men. So I'm not, in favor of women or in favor of men. I believe that so long as your head is working and your heart is beating, as a doctor, I only look at life. Clear thinking and an empathetic heart. Clarity of thought and empathy in your heart. I think these are two deadly combinations. The only one trait I'll ask you as a woman to develop, never take a backseat. Be assertive. Ask for what you want. Never be a part of a narrative which makes you anything less than what you feel like. Always on the spot, get assertive. Always stand up and speak for what you believe in. People may mistake it for anything, and I think you should become immune to other people's opinions. So if you're immune to other people's opinions and you get more assertive, I think you're definitely taking yourself as a woman to the next level. You know what? If you're a man and you speak loudly and walk around the place, people will say, what a leader. Wow, so powerful. But if a woman speaks loud and clear, they'll say, oh my God, here comes trouble. So
Yeah.
we are taught in this country to stay quiet, walk behind somebody, don't make noise, cover yourself, and never be the individual that you want to be. They say 90% of the people are living in cages with the door open. So get out of that cage. Be it a man or a woman, get out. And you will see how much you can experience joy and freedom. Are we done?
Well, we do have a couple of more questions. So if you don't mind,
I
do you
don't
mind?
mind. You can, yeah, ask me. Let's clear it. And
The
anyone,
next,
and anyone else can write to Shri at Gmail. Just leave the email ID so they can always, if they see it, they can always write it. Yeah? Yeah. Go ahead, tell me.
next question is from Soul Post. Why so specific that one should go for a non-religious method? What is wrong with the religious method if it's not doing any harm?
Well, I would not say there's anything wrong with it, but religion, so long as propagated by sensible people, so long as propagated by people who are strong and see neutrality and acceptance, I'm good with it. But if you're going to be divisive, if you're going to create a cult mechanism, and if you're going to say one is better than the other, then definitely you're influencing the mind in a very negative way. If you're able to get spiritual and you're going to believe in oneness, and like I said, different ways of going to the same source, and you have the broadness of mind to accept not only your religion, But somebody else's religion, you're welcome. But you know what? It's a minority out there because people use religion to fear other people. People use religion to trigger fear in people. People say, my religion is better than your religion. I'd rather be a beef eating, peace loving person than a vegetarian who attacks people. And this is exactly what I'm trying to say. It's all about context, it's all about perspective. Religion, a majority of the people are divisive. There are some people who are really good. And anybody who practices religion, any religion, it's private practice. I respect all religions. And I believe that each one of us has a right to practice whatever we want. I'm just worried about those people who are going to be influencers in the wrong way. Influencers which are costing lives, influencers which are brainwashing children, influencers which are wedging people. And I think the whole human society is just one. I believe in oneness. And anybody who teaches you oneness, you're just a part of my heart. And anybody who doesn't, I will ensure that I have your heart very soon out of your body. It's as simple as that.
Okay, so the next question is from Sai Kiran. So, hello, Ushi madam. One suggestion for fresh graduates who are getting into a new job and how to stay focused.
Well, the first thing is find a mentor. The second thing is learn to meditate. The third thing is start maintaining a journal. And the fourth and most important, make time to think, reflect and introspect. Write down exactly what is your focus or intention, one step at a time. Make plans for 3 months, make plans for 6 months, make plans for 9 months, and make plans for 1 year. You need to have a very big plan that you make and break it down into smaller chunks. We call it the inverted pyramid. And once you make that, I can help you with the path. Find yourself anybody, a teacher you look up to, somebody who has experience. Believe me, you need not be old to have experience. I have learned from a 15-year-old. I also learned from a 20-year-old. It's only the thought processes and the brain. You need to look at somebody who's really good at what they do, and you need to go and seek their assistance so that they can add value to you. And anybody who can add value to you will help you to set a plan in place. Once you have a plan in place, there's no looking back. You have a Ferrari with you. There's a 6-lane highway. All you need is fuel. I hope the prices don't increase. The virus will die. All you can do is like sit in your car, sit in your fuel, and just go on your highway. Nothing can stop you. So these are the steps. Big plans, smaller plans, find a mentor, learn to meditate, make your focus, write down what you want, find out what is your intention, one at a time, knock it out. And then you'll be able to move forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So, next question, and hopefully the last question. How do you become so energetic? How do you stay so energetic all the time?
Well, a lot of people ask me this question. I'm doing very well for my age. People sometimes ask me, are you high on something? And I'd like to share the secret with everybody here. The secret of my energy is Horlicks. So go ahead and have some Horlicks. People generally have Boost. I think it's time to have Horlicks. I'm joking. I wouldn't know. I think it's just the spirit inside. I just believe that when there's fire in your belly, there's sparks that fly out of your mouth. And I always live with fire in my belly. And I think you should set it up. I mean, nobody asks me to, but I do it. So I guess a lot of people, including me, have benefited. So there's no age to the mind, right? The mind is always young. And I think you need to nourish it. The body ages, and to hell with it. Who wants a good-looking body when you die? You need to tear it apart and go to the grave in pieces. I mean, that's a philosophy with which I live. You can choose differently. I have my choices and I respect yours as well. We all have space, right? So are we done with the questions, my dear?
Yeah, that was the last question. And thank you so much for coming on the show. A very, very energetic, very impactful show at that. Thank you so much.